Good morning, everyone. I hope your week is happening at a reasonable pace. And for those of you who are in Northern Ontario and had a nice little blast of extra summer, it was a great week for it. Back into fall weather, and that's okay because we're late into October and here it is. I was looking through my little library that I have here at my office, and I came across one of the books that I've read, and it addressed learning and development. And it had a really cool part in the introduction where it discussed learning levels and about how if you hear something, you retain it a little bit. If you see something, you retain it a little bit more. If you do something and figure it out, you're going to hold on to that knowledge pretty much forever. I thought that was kind of interesting. It brought me back to over the summer, we were visiting our daughters, and they live in Ottawa. And the path from the hotel we usually stay at, driving to one of their apartments, is pretty consistent. And yet I keep using Google Maps. And after a while, my husband looked at me and says, "Don't you know this by now? You should know this by now." And here's the thought. I was seeing and hearing it on the map, yet I wasn't figuring it out. Therefore, it wasn't retaining in my brain. I went, oh, well, that explains a lot why I'm seeing some learning related issues with the kids, because they're doing less learning and doing in the early stages of life. Which then made me think, okay, what would be my top 3 things that I could convey to parents of little ones who are 2 and under to help maximize learning abilities for when they do hit school age. So this is for parents and grandparents, aunts and uncles, family, friends, anybody who would like to learn how to impact a young child's life to allow that ability to grow and learn as they get older. Here are my top 3 things that I would recommend. Number 3, opportunities for self-discovery and motor development. What does that mean? Well, this means when they are tiny babies and they're not walking, talking, crawling, nothing yet. This is where, and you've heard this before, tummy time is crucial. Spending time on their back with toys hanging over top so that they can reach and grasp. Crucial. It helps them figure out where to look, how to reach, and how to integrate all these systems together before they start moving. And then once they do start moving, allow them to crawl, allow them to shift, allow them to roll, because this gets the vestibular system involved in also seeing, moving, balance. It's good also to explore different textures and shapes, so that way it keeps them interested. The brain loves knowledge, loves to absorb these things. One of my favorite things that we would do when the girls were little was after dinner we would go to the park. Usually a lot of neighborhoods will have a local park that's not too far to get to. Great resource, and especially when they're small, they have the little baby swings. What I would recommend is pushing them from the front, not from the back, because then you can have more fun. You look at them and you engage with them, make some faces, make some sounds. And as they come closer, eyes turn in, eyes turn out as they back up. So they learn how to fixate with motion and vestibular. Have some toys, have them reach and grab while they're doing it. Keeps them entertained. Let them crawl and climb and get into things so that way they can figure out their bodies once they're at that age. Speaking of crawling, climbing, walking, number 2, developmental milestones. And we all know these are normalized so that you know if you're at the high end or the low end, or if you're behind or ahead. And in today's society, we put a lot of emphasis of being ahead. Learning things faster, getting things done faster, being ahead of the curve. This is important. I'm putting this one in concrete, weighted down, sinking to the bottom of the river. Do not rush this. Allow the child to discover at their own pace. I'm not saying have them crawl when they're 2. A normal developing child will meet the milestones when they need to within the allotted time span, and it's quite wide. I have some parents that come in and we're assessing for learning stuff, and they're very happy. Oh yeah, they learned to walk when they were 9 months old. They're very proud that their child was a high achiever. Cool. Did they crawl? No. Crawling is crucial in development. And if they skip that step, there's a whole lot of brain stuff that didn't happen. And then it shows up learning in the classroom. You wouldn't think so, and it does. So don't rush it. Same thing goes with reading and writing. The best analogy I've ever heard about this, and I will give kudos to Dr. Hondor for this one. Have you ever seen a baby ride a bicycle? No. Well, why not? Well, bicycle's too big. Baby's too small. Cool. Let's build a bicycle that's the size of the baby. Why did the baby not ride the bicycle? Well, they don't know how to move their arms and legs. Same thing happens with reading and writing. They have to learn how to grip the pencil. They have to develop the fine motor skills. So when they're very little, allow them to reach and grasp and hold. When they're about a year or 2 and they have that pincer grip developed, okay, get them appropriate size crayons, let them figure it out and move things around and be scrambly with it. Reading is the same thing. Until they figured out how to make the eyes move and line them up properly, which is where the crawling, the walking development comes in, tummy time, back time comes in, then they learn how to park their eyes on the page. And we do this at a very young age here in Canada. They're usually 4 or 5 years old. We're already teaching them how to read. Some kids have the skills and some don't. Some kids are 8 years old before they've developed those motor skills. It is what it is. And because we've kind of put the cart before the horse, or the bicycle before the baby, they then develop habits that are inadequate, and therefore their motor skills for reading are lacking and they can't keep up. Now, keeps me in business, so cool, and not cool for the kid who's struggling and frustrated. Number 1 thing, and this one nobody likes, limit electronics. This is huge. The American Medical Association made a statement, and this is a long time ago. Children under 18 months to 2 years of age, none. I will repeat that, 0. The only allotment is for video chatting with grandparents or family members so that they can develop that connection. Meaning, no iPad, no iPhone, and I would even limit television. Why? A lot of the videos that they look at provides a stimulation and it distracts them. And parents love this because they can go do things and park the kid with the video and they can go do whatever they need to do, or they're at the doctor's office. The idea is that now the child's control of thoughts is being delegated to the electronic. They don't get to develop that imagination, that self-regulation, the development of skills. They also tend to sit still. When our girls were young and we would go to church, we had a little backpack with toys that they never played with during the week. And we would take those toys with them. And that kept them occupied for an hour. It wasn't a phone. It wasn't a tablet. Now, this was back in the early 2000s when phones and tablets were not as developed as now. We were lucky. And I have 2 very imaginative, intelligent young women who are out there ruling the world. Limit the electronics. For children who are over 2 and under 8, not more than an hour. And I know, here we are in a world where electronics just are pervasive to everything. Here's the deal. And I do this, and it's usually a very workable compromise, and I learned this one from Dr. Virginia Donati. I love this one. For every hour that they want to spend on the electronics, so the phone, the tablet, they have to spend an hour doing something else that's creative thinking. That way you're still allowing them to develop those learning skills, those learning abilities, as opposed to having something spoon-fed to them. And that way, when they do get to those higher level grades where they're reading novels, they can build the structures and the pictures in their head to understand what those novels are about. I know, I'm on a soapbox right now. I'm seeing things progressing through my practice, and I would like to help, and I believe this information would be helpful. In the meantime, when I do get into a familiar area that I should know, I'm turning off the Google Maps, figuring it out so it stays stuck in my brain. Never too old to learn. I hope you guys have a good day, and please let me know if this information was helpful. Have a good day. Till next time. Bye-bye.